Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along once again to the Kokoro Invitational Series presented by FP0 Simulators. It is round number 2, and we are here in Interlagos for another fantastic round of action. We had some great racing last time out in Barber. This is round 3, excuse me, not round 2. I'm getting my dates mixed up, but last time in Barber Motorsports Park. We're now all the way over to Brazil in Sao Paulo. It's an extremely famous circuit, steeped in F1 history, and we've got some fantastic drivers in some great cars with us today. Sam Fitzpatrick in the box with me, Alex Simpson on cameras. I mean, Sam, it's a fantastic track to put these F3 cars around. We're going to see some great racing today.
Absolutely, this is one of the most remote circuits that iRacing has ever modelled. Of course, the only circuit in South America. Kind of just shows the importance of this place that they're willing to go all the way over just to scan this one track, because it is an absolute classic, of course. Should be good in these Formula 3 cars. They'll feel very much at home in the middle part of the circuit, where you got those tight, twisty turns. It'll be really nimble. It'll really show the good handling of the cars. However, we've got that really long run from turn 11 all the way up to turn 1, where the slipstream effect is going to be very powerful, and down into turn 4 as well. It's going to be very important, so it should be very good racing as well. It could be a fun race and potentially a very close finish to the two races we're going to have, because that's going to be a long run to the checkered flag.
Indeed. So drivers are just currently in free practice. Then they will have their long qualifying as per usual. So 3 laps of long qualifying around here, and then we'll have the feature, the heat race, and then the feature race. So currently just having a look at the current standings. Zach O'Sullivan currently quickest ahead of Zane Maloney, Frederick Vesti, Ugo de Vilde, then it's Richard Verschoor, and then Gouda, Visser, Van Hopen, and Gus Bowers. So there's a star-studded grid here today, and some great racing in prospect. And we're about to head into an interview with one of the current guys at Kokoro to talk about the series at the moment. We've dragged in Kieran Clark at the moment. Kieran, welcome to the Commentary Box. Great to have you with us. Yeah, we got you, Kieran. Welcome to the Commentary Box. So, obviously, this series has been very successful so far. Can you just talk to us about why you decided to set up this series at the beginning?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, the main reason was to create a competitive field of racing for our current stable of drivers. Our current stable drivers, Zach O'Sullivan, Zane Maloney, Dion Santos, and Kiffin Simpson. They've got things to work on, and that we would be working on them normally if we were out testing in the real world. But sadly, we can't. So we've had to find a new situation for them to keep working on themselves. But we were looking at the series that were out there at the time, and there just wasn't anything as competitive or being taken as seriously as what we wanted.
And Kieran, I was looking at the social media element to this, which absolutely I think is a superb idea, the Insta Boost, where drivers are encouraged to post on social media. I mean, what was the thinking behind that, and how does it work?
Yeah, again, trying to keep everything as serious as possible, as if they were actually racing, not just for our guys, but for everyone, really. I mean, it's such a key part nowadays. Everyone's looking for financial backing and supporting brands, and the only way you can get that is by, understanding how your social media works and how you can make it better. And this is a perfect opportunity. We've got some people out there that have got huge following, but potentially not that much engagement, and it's actually all about the engagement. So hopefully the guys are starting to understand that maybe I don't get as much as engagement as what I need. So let's try and find new ways to get the people liking and spread the word of what they're doing.
And of course, you've been keeping your eye on how the championship's been going so far. Is there anyone in particular who's caught your eye as, oh, this guy could take the championship, or anyone who's kind of been a surprise in your eyes? Anybody who's really put on a show?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd say my guys, they've all done a great job.
Yeah.
Definitely, I mean, the two guys who aren't part of our stable, Vesti and Bashur, they're doing a great job, and I love the fact that they're taking it extremely seriously, which is great. But yeah, what I'd really like to see is everyone throughout the grid is putting so much effort in, and there's so many varied experiences, people of different experience out there. So to expect everyone to be right at the sharp end um, is pretty impressive what they're doing, considering some of the kids that come from karting and they're racing against the likes of Vesti and Vashur.
And also, is there a prize at the end of the season? Any money on offer or any prizes in that form for the championship winners?
Yeah, so to keep it serious, we wanted to put some financial incentive in there. So we've put £1,000 to the winner of the championship. I believe it's then £500 for second and 350 for third. And then we've got every race winner gets £50. So that there is an incentive there. There is a reason why they're taking it seriously, and that's the other reason why we put the clerks of the courses in, because it's all about learning and it's all about giving that feedback and trying to improve everyone in the nicest way possible. We don't want to target anyone, but we want the racing to be clean and entertaining.
And a lot of companies have taken into sim racing during this quarantine to help, of course, coach their drivers in this kind of off season, so to speak. So going forward, is this going to be something that's going to maybe become a more integral part of your programs?
I think it definitely will be, for my stable of drivers. Definitely, I think we probably will do another series because we can make it better again. Every after every event, we're debriefing and trying to find new ways to make it better racing, trying to help people improve and giving them some advice. Which for us as a company and what we do, it's all about development. So we want to see everyone improve, and hopefully in our next series it will be bigger, the prize money will be bigger, and we'll see a much bigger field as well, hopefully.
We were speaking to a couple of real life drivers a few weeks ago, and they were mentioning um, how much pressure they feel on the sim. If anything, they feel more pressure on the sim than they do in real life. Would you say that kind of the mental side to real life racing kind of translates to sim racing? Can you kind of identify a driver's kind of weaknesses in that area with these races?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sim racing, for me, I believe is so much harder because you lose that feel. You don't have that feel in your backside as a driver anymore. So you have to use your vision, which is really key, but kind of gets put aside at times. And the concentration it takes and requires is so intense, and it's also hard because the one part runs through your mind which you want to stay ahead of the driver, behind, so you mustn't make any mistakes, and it's keeping focused on what's going on ahead, and that's the same in real life. I do think it's harder for the real world drivers, definitely, um, but again, if they can do it in this and they can improve in this, when they jump back in the car for real, they should be sharp and ready to go.
And let's just move focus to today for a moment. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who do you think is gonna possibly take a win today, or is there any going to be any surprises today? Have you noticed anybody in particular?
Uh, Zach and Zane, they have both been fast and they've been putting the work in, which hopefully that transpires into to some wins. But outside of our drivers, I think Vesti is always there. For sure, he's always been there. So I'd like to think they'll be in the mix. I do think Vissa will be up there. She's been quite quick in official testing, and the newcomer Victor Martins, I think he'll actually be quite quick as well. And I think he will actually come as a bit of a surprise, I think, in the races.
And what was the thinking in terms of the calendar as well this season? I mean, we've just come off Barber, which is mega tight twisty. I mean, one of the kind of smallest circuits we have on iRacing, and then we go to this proper Grand Prix type circuit. What was kind of the logic in terms of this mixture of tracks?
Um, when we first started thinking about tracks, we just wanted to have something that creates good racing, but it's quite hard and technical at the same time. The first round, I think, did promote quite a lot of good racing, to be honest. Uh, very close racing. Barber, I we actually originally thought there would be more battles and racing than there was, but as it turned out, it was quite tricky to overtake there, which does make the challenge. But it's also a really technical track, so very very hard to get on pace. So it kind of brought a different element to it. This track is just a quality circuit. It's brilliant. Lots of overtaking places, and it's very very technical in the mid sector. And Silverstone, well, it's home of British Grand Prix, so we've got to go there, being a British company. But also, I think it's a circuit which we will be able to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for some of those drivers who aren't quite as switched on.
And just finally, there, Kieran. Obviously, you mentioned that plans are obviously in the works for a next season. So, is it going to be something of the same format? Or are you thinking of switching up the format a little bit, maybe changing cars? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I don't want to give away too much at the moment, but we probably will be mixing up the cars. It won't just be the single seater basis. We're unsure whether it be a championship at the moment, or it will be a race by race, because hopefully, if the government is moving in the right direction, hopefully we'll all be back to racetracks very soon. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're tied down to this program when they've actually got to get back to their real racing. So we'll probably do something which is a bit more flexible for the drivers, but will create just as an intense race.
Brilliant. Well, thanks a million for joining us, Kieran. A lot of us here, a lot of enjoyment coming out of this series. Thanks a million for joining us, and we'll speak to you again, hopefully, in the future.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
So that was Kieran Clark from Kokoro Performance joining us there. And yeah, interesting to hear that plans are already in place for the next season. And it'd be interesting to see. I wonder what the switch of the cars is going to be, switching from a single series. I would imagine that we could possibly see some GT racing appearing here, Sam.
Yeah, perhaps so. What did he definitely say it was coming out of single seats then?
I think he said he did want to switch up the single seat. Maybe he doesn't want to switch it to single. Maybe it'll be a different single seater. We
I
don't
was
know.
just thinking, like, a
Yeah.
really good step up would be the 3.5. That would be really cool. Because that's really tricky to drive. A lot more tricky to drive than the Formula 3 car, so that would be pretty cool. But you're absolutely right. GT cars would be a good way to go. Touring cars, perhaps, I think would be fun, but I think the majority of these drive stuff which is quite different to that, and that's probably not a path that necessarily they're going to go down. Whereas GT cars, absolutely. Would be really cool. Maybe some GT3s, GT4, of course, is new onto the series. Porsche Cup, that'd be good fun. That's always a big challenge. So no, really looking forward to whatever these guys are producing. They've done an absolutely terrific job with this championship. Currently on board on the shoulder cab of Vesti in third position, 2/10 of a second off the fast time in practice. We've only got about a minute left in this practice session, then we will advance to the 10-minute qualifying session. But yeah, just negotiating that turn for wide circuit this, and there's going to be plenty of overtaking opportunities even around this part of the circuit potentially.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just coming up the back of the start. You see how much the camber goes away. And as we approach the end of practice, it'll give plenty of you viewers opportunities to subscribe to Apex Racing TV, catch up all of the action, subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network, keep up to date with the Kokoro Invitational Series. And we watch as Frederick Vesti comes to the end of his lap as he drops downhill. And up the hill, we all know what happened here with Lewis Hamilton winning his title right here up the inside of Timo Glock that time. Maybe we might see something similar today. He's getting the slipstream of the car in front, and especially around a really open circuit like this, Sam, the slipstream is going to be so crucial. We're going to see so much slipstream trains today.
I swear I recall hearing a stat where the length of the final corner to turn one, I think it's like the longest flat out section in all of Formula One. I think maybe Azerbaijan may have beaten that by now. But apart from that, it's pretty much the longest period, and of course that's going to be a lot longer in a Formula 3 car, which, no disrespect to them, are significantly slower down the straight. So you're absolutely right, yeah, massive slipstream effects, and then down into that turn one, it's kind of tricky to defend because you can go around the outside. At the same time, though, because if you get your car right to the inside wall, you can kind of be quite intimidating to your driver when you're approaching that. If you're showing that you're willing to defend that high, get right to the concrete wall, then it's very tricky to overtake you around there. So no, that's going to be fantastic to watch. And of course, turn 4 as well, going to be the other great opportunity. It's a great race circuit. This as we're starting qualifying. We'll start to see the first few drivers enter the circuit.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, a 3-lap qualifying on course for the drivers today. So they have a lap to get the car up to temperature, and then they've got 3 laps to set their fastest lap. But and a lot of them do use the 2 laps as a warm-up lap as well, and use their final lap as an attempt at their fastest. So watching Logan Cusson warming his tires up, and especially with the V7 tire model, it is incredibly crucial that you get these cars up to temperature. It's one of the things that the real life drivers have been saying is one of the biggest step forwards, biggest step forward in iRacing, is the amount of effort you need to get tires up to temperature. And it's an extreme challenge in itself trying to get the car up to temperature, because in a lot of the sims as well, you can go flat out straight away, but in iRacing it just really isn't the case.
Definitely, and watch out for that, of course, on the opening lap, of course. But yeah, it's really tricky to get any pace out of the car. It's almost certainly going to be the second lap that these drivers are fast, probably second or third lap, potentially. The first lap will almost be a throwaway. Get it in clean, obviously, because you don't want to be starting right from the back, and the front guys will still get a decent time. But you've got to improve on your second and third laps if you're going to be anywhere near the front, because yeah, the tires do take a while to warm up, and some of the drivers, of course, this will be new to them. We've got a couple of rookies, I think, in this race today. It'll be their first race of the season, and so it's going to be really strange for them to have to deal with something like this. But hopefully they have learnt, as yeah, we see drivers are going through turn 4. Remember, it's a solo session, so everyone's out on circuit at the moment, but none of them can see one another. But imagine approximately 40 drivers all going through this same corner at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. He's been looking down the list. We've only just got one Brazilian on the grid today, Miguel Costa. It's his home race. Plenty of Brits on the grid as well. We look at the moment at Zach O'Sullivan, who's been setting the pace so far, himself and Zane Maloney. Really going for it as he's heading the back of the circuit now. Downhill, using the camera to his advantage. And into this last sweeping right-hander, which goes on forever. Pretty much goes on until you reach the start-finish line. Let's see where he's going to go. A couple of drivers starting their second laps now. And we'll see where all these guys are going to be relative to each other. So here comes Zach O'Sullivan across the line, or is he going to head straight to the pit? No, he's going to use that pit entry as the line. So Kayaski currently quickest. Where is Zay Maloney? Goes quickest, 127, but it's a 126.99 for Zach O'Sullivan. His first lap is complete. Zay Maloney second, Paul Aaron in third. We now look at Conrad Lawson through the last corner right now. Marius Zug pops into fifth. Beitske Visser is sixth. And there's Victor Martens, 126.87. We heard from, of course, Kieran that he was going to be a surprise. And right now, he's looking pretty good. Some good pace setting right there.
Yeah, that's really strong for him at the moment. Can anyone else improve? Vesti goes to the top of the stand, and now Vershaw beats him. So those guys who left it a little bit longer, there's no advantage necessarily to leave it longer, apart from, well, perhaps the fact that you got a benchmark. Arguably, you don't really want that pressure on yourself, but Vershaw, the Dutch driver, absolutely nailing that one, puts himself to the top of the standings. But like I said a moment ago, your first lap almost certainly isn't going to be your fastest lap. It's about how they do on this second and third laps. Now they need to find that improvement. This second lap could be good enough for pole, but then the third lap might be even faster for these cars. So yeah, you need to make sure that you don't pick up any 1x's on these laps, because well, it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, you can see how much of the curve Vershaw is using there. Using all of it as much as he possibly can without it spinning him out wide. And he's currently 800ths of a second quicker than his Formula 3 counterpart, Frederic Vesti. Victor Martins, Ugo de Vilde pops into fifth place. Zach O'Sullivan now goes second fastest, 600ths behind for sure, who's on an improvement, we think. A couple of purple sectors coming in for other guys down further, so the purple means there that is the best of anyone. Marius Zug by 8,000. Then Lawrence Van Hopen now goes even quicker, 126.67. So there's a couple of surprises coming in here. Richard Vershaw now heading to the line, and now hugging the barrier tight to the inside. We'll wait and see what he can do. He's on a personal best across the board. Let's see what he does as he comes across the line. Is it an improvement? I don't think so. It's not an improvement. It's a worse lap to what he did before. James Poole goes into sixth place at the moment. But Lawrence Van Hopen looking really good there. Marius Zug, and it's extremely close as we expected. And we're now waiting for the final laps of a couple of drivers to come through. But currently a little bit of a surprise on provisional pole at the moment, Lawrence Van Hopen.
Yep, one more lap for these guys, and Van Hopen, they're not going to do any more laps. That's going to be it for him. So yeah, that is the time that everyone has got to beat. But yeah, it's so close. Top seven, separated by 2/10 of a second. This isn't an especially short circuit either. I mean, there are plenty of places to gain time. It's a very tricky circuit, very technical circuit. So no, that is absolutely really close for these guys. Is there going to be any improvement though? Arson, no. He moves up into 8th place. What about Aski? Doesn't well, he does improve, but it's not enough to move him up any places. Galder goes 7th despite a purple 4th. As Sullivan goes to the top of the standings, then 1/10 of a second clear, 26.5 for Zach O'Sullivan, and now Zug moves up into 2nd place, back ahead of Hopen. However, this man for sure could end these guys' hopes. We know he's got some extra pace. His fastest lap was on his first lap, so there's got to be more pace in that Formula 3 car. He takes the shortest run to the line. It's an improvement. It is, but it's only good enough for the front row. 2nd place on the grid for Verschoor. It wasn't enough to overhaul O'Sullivan, but that certainly puts him into a decent position.
Yeah, a really good qualifying performance from Zach O'Sullivan pulled us out at the end. Not a great one for Zane Maloney, I must say, down in 9th place. Must have had a 1 extra something. He hasn't been able to improve on his lap. Dion Gouda is now 7th. We now continue with the last couple of laps. So everybody else has pretty much finished their lap, and a couple of drivers yet to finish their laps. Dion Gouda, Billy Monger still yet to finish his final lap at the moment. So coming to the end of qualifying now, there is Billy Monger as he comes around the last corner, getting a little bit sideways there, see if he can improve. He's on a personal best in the first 2 sectors, down in the middle, and a little bit up in the second to last sectors. We'll see if he's able to improve now as he heads to the line, or is he going to come into the pit lane? Nope, he's going to continue on his lap and see what he can do. Hugs tight to the inside wall to get as much time as he can. 126.537, and it's a slight improvement to 22nd at the moment. But Billy Monger really doing himself well, and Dion Gouda sits in 7th, but it looks like O'Sullivan's done the job ahead of Verschoor and Zug in 3rd place, extremely close. Frederick Vesti in 5th and De Vilde in 6th, but slightly surprised Zane Maloney's all the way down in 9th place considering he was 2nd fastest in practice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only 3/10 of a second, isn't it? I mean, gained by 2/10 and you're on the 2nd row of the grid. All of a sudden, so maybe you just didn't quite hook up that perfect, like you said about how he may have picked up a 1x on his best time. Small mistakes like that can cost you, and now he's going to be right in the mix of it when it comes to Heat 1 on the grid. On that opening lap, it's going to be really tricky for him to get through unscathed, and he's got to make sure that the front runners don't pull away from him. But he's yeah, certainly got the pace to gain some places. It's gonna have to be a good start. We're kind of watching Galder, who this isn't an eligible lap for. However, Maximus Meyer, the FIA karting driver, is currently down in 27th place, yet to put in a time. This is a legitimate time for Meyer. Now, if he could get pole position from here, especially considering that his first 4 sectors haven't been particularly inspiring, it would be the greatest sports story of all time, dare I say. However, I don't think Meyer's going to quite have enough pace. Could maybe get himself around maybe Larson or Munger, perhaps. Here he comes, doesn't come into the pits. He's taking the shortest line. However, and he does put him just ahead of Munger. There you go. Straight in the middle. A genius. 22nd place.
Perfect. Yeah, nice one, Sam. That was pretty
That
excellent
was the
prediction.
greatest
That was
sporting
spot
moment of
on.
all time. I mean, come on.
Unbelievable. So that is it for qualifying. And it's Zach O'Sullivan ahead of Verschoor, Marius Zug, then Lawrence Van Hopens, Frederick Vesti, Hugo de Vilde, Dion Gouda, Zane Maloney down in 9th, James Poll in 8th, and Victor Martins in 10th. And then just outside there will be Beitske Visser, Gus Powers, Sophia Flörsch will be 13. Plenty of support for Sophia Flörsch in the chat as well. So we head to qualifying at the end of qualifying now, and we head to a 20-minute heat race or 14 laps, whichever we get to first, then into a 5-minute warm up, and then the feature race. So 40 drivers will make it through to the feature race, which I think would mean everybody today. But here's a quick look at your grid.
Yep, and it's Zach O'Sullivan on pole position. Then the British F4 drove Richard Verschoor in second place. Marius Zug, he was on pole position for a bit. In third, Lawrence Hopen, he was on pole position for ages, but into a third lap. Starts in fourth. Then it's Frederick Vesti, Ugo de Wild, Dion Gouda, James Paul, Zane Maloney, watch out for him. Victor Martins, watch out for him from 10th as well. There, Sophia Flosh from 13th. Justin Arseneau in 14th. Miguel Costa, Paul Aaron, Callum Williams, Kai Askey, Kai Finn, Simpson, and Nicholas Wertzen in the top 20 places. And just got one more. I think it's just Billy Munger who's yet to get on the grid. So just waiting for him, and then we'll get the lights on.
Yep, so Zach O'Sullivan next to Richard Verschoor. It was a British F4 versus FIA Formula 3, and just behind them is Marius Zug, who is an ADAC GT driver. So there's a couple of different ones, and then Hopen, of course, a karting, and then Vesti with FIA Formula 3. And we're now getting ready to go. Yeah, we're just waiting for one more driver, which I think is Billy Munger, to get on the grid, and we'll be getting underway with the standing start with the lights. And we'll get away. So now Verschoor is already going to be thinking about his start. Of course, you need to nail the starts in these things. Not as hard as the TCR, of course, to get off the line, but 30 seconds until we get going, and it's hard to pick a favourite for this one. O'Sullivan, Verschoor, Zug, Hopen, Vesti, De Vilde, Dion Gouda, James Paul, Zane Maloney, and Victor Martins are your top 10. Beitske Visser just outside there. Gus Bowers and Sophia Flörst. And here we go. The lights are about to come on for the next round of the Kokoro Invitational Series, heat number 1. Lights out and away we go. Good start O'Sullivan, good start for sure. Great start Vesti from the second row as he comes through. For sure is already getting up the inside to head towards turn number 1. Vesti already making it 3 aggressive heads towards him. It's a fantastic getaway from the Dane, trying to get up the inside of O'Sullivan. For sure takes the lead, he gets ahead of O'Sullivan to turn 1. It's Vesti, Van Hopen, Zug is down to 5th, De Vilde 6th, Maloney, Paul, Martins and Gouda. Gouda's had a bad getaway from there. Fantastic getaway for sure. Now already Vesti's trying to attack Zach O'Sullivan down towards turn number 3, going side by side. Van Hopen's looking for a move there as well, trying to go out the outside. Van Hopen gets sideways as he spun it. I think he has it off the road, goes to Vilde. They had to take avoiding action, and Van Hopen is around with another car involved in there. Vesti, another car around. That is Dion Gouda. Dion Gouda spun it as well. Maloney goes through to 4th from 9th. James pulls up to 5th. Martins in 6th. De Vilde down to 7th. But for sure, with a fantastic getaway, O'Sullivan drops down, but Vesti with the best getaway of them all in the top 5.
Yeah, that was incredible from Vesti. He almost took the lead. If there was a little bit more room on the inside, he very well got it. However, he is in a great place. Those top 3 breaking the draft to everyone else, which is what they need to do. Luban has just had a bit of an issue further down, but Shane 4, I think it was 4th and 5th, wasn't it? Well, 3rd and 4th on the grid, but 4th and 5th after Vesti's awesome start, dropping way down the order. Van Hopen and Zug, of course. So massive problems for them as O'Sullivan and Verschoor really battling it out. Look how close O'Sullivan is to the inside. He needs to make sure he doesn't accidentally go into the pits as we're side by side moving on to lap 2.
O'Sullivan up the inside, Vesti looking for space on the inside too. I think O'Sullivan's going to retake that lead from Verschoor. Verschoor's going to hang around the outside of the Senna S's, which will turn to the inside for the next part of the Senna S's. Side by side they go, but O'Sullivan's got it done around the outside of the second part of it. Now he's going to have the slipstream again. Vesti's got to hang back now, but Zane Maloney, great start, up 5 places from where he started. Now he's going to try and close up to these guys, but O'Sullivan leads. Verschoor second. Now he goes defensive again. Vesti's looking for the space. He's found the space on the inside with the slipstream off O'Sullivan, but Verschoor's going to have a go around the outside at the bottom of the circuit here. Can he get it stopped? No, he can't. He runs a bit wide. O'Sullivan runs in wide, so Verschoor has to hang back now, but all these guys are letting this fighting is allowing Zane Maloney to catch up. Problem for a car in the background as now up the inside Verschoor trying again, but Maloney's catching them. He's right there already. Victor Martins a little bit further back, but Maloney has caught the train already.
Yeah, that was just a few corners of battling. There is Maloney then, absolutely right, in 4th place, and he's in this battle now. Track position amongst these guys, I don't think it's going to be too important. Maybe they're battling over it too much, because now that Maloney is in this battle, they're going to really struggle to beat him. 2 seconds back to Victor Martins, who's up 5 places. By the way, Billy Munger up 10 places, up into 13th position. And despite the few incidents that we saw, still the top 18 separated by about 11 places. There are the big changes. Lupan actually, after having a little bit of a tricky end to the last lap, getting plenty of places on this lap as this 4-car chain starts another lap. O'Sullivan's going to be all right in the lead this time round, but Verschoor having to defend from Vesti, dipping out of the slipstream. You don't want to do that too much, and having to go defensive. These guys cannot afford to start battling and allow O'Sullivan to pull away.
Sullivan's just built a small gap now because Vershore's now in the clutches of Frederick Vesti and Zay Maloney. Had to think about a move. Just a quick update on the feature race. It is the top 20 will get inverted. Kayaski into the pit lane with the top. Now we go back to the battle for 7. Sophia Flirsch has had a great getaway as well. She's up 6 places, but now she's battling with Ugo de Vilda, who's having to go on the outside with Fleur. That's de Vilda up the inside. The contact around goes de Vilda. Ground goes Flirsch, excuse me. De Vilda into the back of her, and she gets going again. That drops her all the way down to 15th, maybe down to 16th. Conrad Lawson goes around the outside, so she drops down to 16th, battling for the top 10 places. And now Gus Bauer is now having to battle with Paul Aaron for that 6th place. But the top 20 will get inverted for the feature race, so whoever finishes in 20th will be on pole for the next race. And as O'Sullivan just slowly building the gap now, but now they're got to work out, do they continue to fight, because Versure really needs to start catching O'Sullivan, or Vesti needs to get past because O'Sullivan's pulling away.
Yeah, it's up to 7/10, although that's a good run for Versure coming out of that last point. You can see the gap actually dropping. You can check out the intervals between all the drivers, by the way, by clicking on the live timing link in the description provided by SDK Gaming. Monga is dropping down the order. He's in 17th place. Versure getting back within half a second then of the race leader. If I were Vesti right now, I wouldn't be battling Versure. I'd be thinking, well, we've got the pace to keep up with O'Sullivan. Let's try to catch back up to O'Sullivan and then start battling proper. But Versure not particularly strong through that first corner, and the gap starts edging up again. Maloney, he's not wasting any time. He's going to the outside right now. Going to try to move up into 3rd place. Got the slipstream from the car ahead. However, he hasn't got the racing, or he hasn't got the ideal line. Getting the cutback now down into turn 4. Defensive from Vesti, and should have the inside line 4, 5, and 6, which should give him the upper hand. But well, once again, now these guys are 7/10 off the back of Versure, and they're not really making any progress at the moment. Still no changes amongst those 3.
Paul Aaron up the inside of Gus Bauer as he tries it. He's having a little look up the inside. Back around the outside goes Aaron, and a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Off the road goes Paul Aaron. Can he keep it out of the barriers? Just about. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there. No real harm done, but he gets it going again, which is important. And Gus Bowers holds on for now. But now Callum Williams. How about Callum Williams? Up 9 positions from where he started. The Australian on course for a good result as well. But yeah, the battling between Vesti and Maloney has dropped them off, and the gap up front has opened up to 0.8 of a second now. So O'Sullivan's doing the job at the moment with this 20-minute heat race. Now here comes Callum Williams. See if he can get it done on Gus Bowers. He's close enough with the slipstream. Bowers with a little bit of a defensive line. Here comes Callum Williams now. FIA Formula 3 driver as well. See if he can go to the outside. He's going to have to find some space. Gus Bowers holds an inside line with all his might, and that round to the outside goes Callum Williams, and he sweep around the outside. He's going to have a go, and the Sen S is really nice to do it here. Switch to the inside. Gus leaves him the space, and can he hold on? Just about. He gets it done, but now Bowers might come back at him here as he gets in the slipstream down towards the end of turn number 3, and he goes to the outside. There's just no space there. He's on the grass trying to get past there, down towards the end of the circuit here. And he moves to the inside. Williams leaves the door open. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. So Bowers retakes it, but now Williams with the cutback might get up underneath him. He gets a little bit of twitch, and Callum Williams now goes back up the inside, and they're now neck and neck again as they come up the hill. But I think Williams might just be, but Bowers still up the inside here as he goes side by side through here. There he is. There's Gus Bowers on the inside now with the switchback. Williams gets back up underneath him. Great racing here. Williams back up underneath Gus Bowers. Now does he get it stopped? Yes, he does. And a great fight there. And just up ahead, Maloney has taken 3rd away from Vesti.
Great battle between those couple of drivers. Had to work very hard for it. Williams, once again, that turn 4 is really seems to be a trouble spot. The drivers take such different pace on the apex right at that corner, and so it's very easy to make contact. This is how Maloney got past Vesti. Then he was very close a few laps ago down into turn 4. And this time, I mean, this isn't a particularly favourable position. That is a great move, though, for Maloney. I mean, track extends a little bit, but gets a good run back onto the track and has the ideal line then for turn 6. That's what Maloney had to do. Had to get that move done very soon, and he's now 2 seconds behind Versure. He's actually had a rubbish lap as Maloney, and now Martins is with these guys. Martins just set the fastest lap of the race. Look at this.
Vesties have it coming back at Maloney. He gets a little swerve towards him there as they head towards the end. He's not very happy with the overtake, I think, as Maloney holds on for now with the cutback with Victor Martins. You're right, has caught them because they're continuing to battle up here. They've dropped off the back of the cars up front. They've dropped away from Verschure and Zach O'Sullivan. Now Vesti to the outside. Oh, there's contact and they go off the road. What was that between the two of them? Maloney with the broken rear left, Vesti, and now De Vilda has to take avoiding action. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. They looked like to be swerving towards one another. I think that looked a little bit malicious. I'm not going to say anything there, but that looked a little intriguing.
Yeah, not leaving room for the outside Joe. Not quite sure who was on the outside and who was on the inside there. But yeah, a very much avoidable contact. And all you think those guys were those guys were fighting for the lead just a few moments ago, and then they got obsessed with battling one another. And that's what happens. They could have probably got a podium out of this, but instead they've got involved in an incident. And yeah, it means that Martins is up into third place. And it's good pace. 4.5 seconds off the lead is Victor Martins. Of course, on his first ever race in this series, could he challenge for the top 2 positions by the end of this? As Sophia Florsch will benefit from this as well. She dropped down to, I believe, 14th or 15th place, but is back up into 10th now.
Yeah, she just gets past Alex Powell, and she gets through to 10th place then. So currently sitting on the reverse grid pole at the moment is Nicholas Cruton in 20th. But is now continuing. So there was 2, just to keep you updated on penalties, there's 2 penalties that have come through. I believe Meyer and Arsenault have both got drive-throughs for avoidable contact, so they won't be involved in this race. So the live stewards, of course, are working hard, and they continue to keep updated. But I'll tell you what, Wharton is up 15 places from where he started. He's in 9th place, just behind Paul Aron. And yeah, he's having a good old run of it, up 15 places. Not easy. He had I believe he led most of the race, actually, in Barber. And he had to hold off some serious attacks from drivers behind. And he's on a good run again, is Wharton. And up 15 places on a grid this strong is no easy feat.
Absolutely. I don't think he made many of those places up at the start, actually. I think he, because I saw Munger was the highest increase with 10 places in the opening lap or so. And he's now still at 1 lap. So I think we've got another penalty for Zane. 1 lap penalty for contact. So that's an absolutely massive penalty right there. So that is a massive shame for him. And yeah, who was that? That was Zane.
Zane Maloney, yeah. For the contact with Frederick Vesti at the top of the hill, I think. So I think it's not gone at all to plan for Zane Maloney today. So contact with Frederick Vesti. Vesti still holding 4th at the moment, but I would imagine with damage. But Zach O'Sullivan has been setting the pace out front at 1.4 seconds ahead of Richard Verschure. There is Frederick Vesti and Victor Martins now in 3rd, and now Ugo de Vilda is now catching up to a lapped car there. So Vesti's a little bit further up the road, and that is just a lapped car up ahead of him. Callum Williams is up to 6th, by the way. Gus Bowers, and then Paul Aron, then Wharton and Sophia Florsch. There is Callum Williams. He's up 11 where he started. He's still fighting with Gus Bowers. These guys are having one hell of a fight. It's been going on for lap after lap after lap, and they continue to fight it out. It's going to be interesting to see. So this is Formula 3 versus British GT. So totally different forms of motorsport. We go on about this a lot, but totally different forms of motorsport going up against each other in the same car on the same track. We love to see it.
Absolutely, and the majority of the drivers in this championship are single-seat drivers, so it is quite unique to have this this duel going very wide there. I don't know if that really helps you, because you kind of get a little bit of a dip coming onto the pit straight. It's very weird how banked that final part of turn 13 is. Bowers, though, moves ahead then into 6th place, past Williams. Aaron is now 2.7 seconds back on that last lap he gained by about a second. Also, very quick is James Watson further back. Bowers going right to the inside of the track into turn 4. Williams will try to get the cutback, but just slows him down a little bit on the apex. Good exit for Bowers. And now tries to cover off the line. Williams felt as though he was almost due a little bit of space there, but didn't quite get his car alongside soon enough. And Bowers just positioning that car nicely. Oh, that is a massive save, and that's a nice save. And struggling to get on the brakes as well for the first part of this middle part of the track. There's absolutely no relief for him right here. He's literally offline into every single corner. It's compromising his pace massively.
And all this is just allowing Paul Aaron behind to catch up a little bit. He's about a second and a bit off of them. But yeah, it's a proper good fight between Gus Bowers and Callum Williams. They've been going at it for upwards of 6 or 7 laps at this stage, just swapping places lap after lap and giving each other plenty of room. Good racing between the two of them. Zach O'Sullivan opens the gap even further. He's flying over. He's 1.8 seconds up. It's lap 10 of 14. 7 minutes left on the clock. Here comes Callum Williams again for another try at Gus Bowers. Now he holds the inside. Where's Williams going to go? Now he's going to have to go. He's done this before around the outside of the Senna S's. See if he can get it stopped this time. Around the outside, Callum Williams on Gus Bowers. But Bowers goes even later on the brakes. Nicely done from Gus Bowers. Now on the exit, Callum Williams can see if he can do it. So down the back straight again and see if he can get it done this time. So down the back straight. And now Bowers will defend the inside as he always does. But Williams, he just tried to find some space. There's just no space. And now the outside again. Bowers goes late on the brakes. Williams still has to hold behind. Now will he get the cut back again? Not quite going to have it this time. He might get up underneath. He does get up underneath Bowers here. So up towards the top of the circuit here. Now can he go around the outside? It's very hard to make a move here around the outside of this part of the circuit. He's going to have a try, but not quite. Bowers just has that inside line. Now can he get the cutback back up underneath him? No. So Bowers is defending really nicely here, going later on the brakes. And again, there is Paul Aaron and there is James Wharton. They're catching slowly.
They're not even catching slow, they're catching fast. They're definitely going to catch by the end of this race if they keep on battling like this. Yeah, Bowers just not finding not having the pace that he had earlier on with all this defense gaps. 0.3 of a second going on to turn 13. Which is a little bit larger than it was, I believe, on the last lap, but once again, just having to go right to the concrete wall, undoubtedly along the pit straight. 54 right turn still. He knows the he knows the routine now. He goes to the outside. I think he's maybe a little bit further ahead than he was last time. Doesn't seem to be too interested in going all the way around the outside. Wants to get the cutback, but they're not quite getting the run through turn 2. It's a weird circuit, this, because there's loads of overtaking opportunities. However, if you defend well, it's very tricky to actually overtake, because you can see he's just putting his car on the inside into every single corner right now. Is Baz, and Williams just doesn't have the pace to go around the outside. It's strange. Maybe if he had a bit more grip, got some fresher tyres, then maybe he would be able to go around the outside. But there's just no way past at the moment, and now Aaron is within 1 second. Florsch as well is catching right up. Remember, Florsch was with these guys earlier on before she had that spin, but she's almost been able to recover that entire gap.
Yep, just to keep you updated as well, unfortunately, James Wharton has also received a penalty for contact, so he's dropped out of the top 10 now. As that puts Sophia Flörsch to 9th and Alex Powell inside the top 10. But we now look at Zach O'Sullivan, by the way, who's opened the gap to now to 2 seconds. He's just been lapping just a couple of tenths faster than Verschoor each lap. So we'll see now. Verschoor's been on personal best, but Zach O'Sullivan just has the pace over him. Let's watch the lap times this by. Very consistent, 126.4, but a fast lap in the race for Verschoor behind. So it's just not enough though, because O'Sullivan's been lapping at the 26.4s very consistently, lap after lap. And that's what you need to keep the caliber driver of Verschoor behind. Victor Martin's doing a really nice job. He was tipped by Kieran Clark earlier to do well. He's in the podium slots at the moment. Vesti's still there. You just caught him in the background there. And Ugo de Vilda in 5th. And that is James Wharton actually emerging from his penalty there. So that's him coming out of the pits. And Callum Williams is still behind Gus Bowers, but Paul Aaron's even closer now. So, but it looks like Williams wasn't quite as close this time. And with only 2 laps to go, he's running out of time. Paul Aaron right there as well. Flörsch, if they battle a little bit harder, maybe he'll catch him. Now we ride on board with Paul Aaron. He has a box seat for all this. It's Callum Williams going to the outside again at the top of the hill, but he's going to have to try and get that cutback line. It's so hard. Now you see how much Aaron closes up in the brakes. He cuts back to the inside again. He's going to have a go. He has to think about it on the brakes, but now Paul Aaron says hello. He's caught them.
Yep, he's well within draft range now, isn't he? And with how early Williams has been getting out of the draft from Bowers in down through turn 13, I can kind of see Aaron potentially slipstream past the pair of them, because Williams is going to pull out of the slipstream, I think, quite early, because he has so much better pace up the hill. If Aaron just holds back a little bit, this is a good distance for him to be back. he should be able to stay in the slipstream all the way down the straight, and we might see 3 wide. Williams is a little bit further back from Bowers this time, so I don't think it's going to work out for Aaron, although Williams will certainly get alongside, undoubtedly, going into turn 1. Bowers will have to go right to the inside of the track, as he always does. And he's certainly not going to be... oh, no, well, he has left the gap open this time. Well, and he gets absolutely done. Can he go back down the inside? Yes, he can. Well, that was good recovery. I was about to say how Bowers will never let him go down the inside of turn 1. Then he just lets his guard down for a moment. And here comes Aaron. He goes to the outside. He'll get one of them potentially completely boxed in unless he's willing to make this 3 wide. It's Bowers. Sorry, it's Williams who gets cuts off right there from Aaron. Great move. He almost gets to the other car as well straight after. He now goes to the outside, and this is a tricky situation now for Bowers because he's known how to defend against Williams, but he's got a new rival now to fend off with 1.5 laps to go.
It's a nice move from Paul Aron there, very nicely done. But Gus Bowers is putting on one hell of a defensive masterclass here. This is how you hold off drivers in these Formula 3 cars. We're about to head on to the final lap, by the way, of this opening heat race. Remember, the top 20 will get reversed at the end of this. This is going to make it really interesting, as Zach Sullivan will start 20th on the grid. But yeah, Gus Bowers has done an amazing job so far. Paul Aron now moves it to 7th. Callum Williams is 8th. But now it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to end. As the white flag is in the air, we look back from Gus Bowers' rear wing, because these guys are closing fast on him. So he will be the only one who doesn't have a slipstream. The top 3 all set 126.4s apiece. But Bowers looks like he's just got enough of a gap at the moment to maybe try and hold off Paul Aron at turn 1. Callum Williams is just kind of lurking. He's waiting to see what Aron's going to do as he heads towards turn number 1. Not quite close enough. So here we go again with Aron right up behind him. Coming back into the Senna S's. Callum Williams is lurking in the back, but now here comes Aron. He's got a great run out of the Senna S's. Down towards the end of turn number 4. Can he get it done this time? Bowers will defend the inside like he's always done so far, but will he open the door for Paul Aron to get through? Aron's looking for the space. He doesn't have it. Moves to the outside. Bowers opens up the corner a little bit more. Aron, no, he makes cut. He tried it around the outside and off the road in a big way. Paul Aron is unfortunately out of this race. Now, he tried an audacious move around the outside of Gus Bowers. Bowers emerges unscathed, but unfortunately, that is it for Paul Aron, and Callum Williams back to 7th. Meanwhile, out front, he's been untroubled so far for most of the duration of this race. Zach O'Sullivan coming through the last corner with a fantastic measured drive, extremely consistent lap times. I think he said 126.4s. I think 9 times in a row to keep Richard for sure behind him. But he comes across the line to win the heat race here in Interlagos for round number 3 of the Kokoro Invitational Series. Zach O'Sullivan, he will start 20th on the grid for the feature race. Richard Fitzgerald is 2nd, and Victor Martins will come across in 3rd. He was tipped for a good result, and he's got one. Frederick Vesti will finish in 4th. Ugo de Vilde. And can Gus Bowers hold off Callum Williams? Let's see if he can as he comes across the line. And I think he might just about be able to. De Vilde finish 6th. Here comes Bowers. What a defensive masterclass from Gus Bowers. He holds on for 6th place with Callum Williams right behind him. Sophia Flourish in 8th with a great job. Dion Gouda in 9th. And Alex Powell in 10th place. But Gus Bowers, Billy Monger now trying to hang off, bites give Visser to the line. That's going to be really close to come across the line. Is Visser going to get him? I don't think she did. Monger holds on by 200ths of a second across the line. Good result, Billy Monger. Bites give Visser, James Paul, Kai Askey, Logan Cusson, Miguel Costa, Lubin, Hoopen, and it looks like Meyer will be the last. There's a wheel flying there for some reason, but across the line comes Miguel Costa. Frederick Lubin will come across in 18th, and then Hoopen and Meyer will actually be on reverse grid pole now. But I think we got to give credit to Gus Bowers. What a defensive masterclass he put on there.
That was really great. Paul Aaron got a little bit aggressive. I think at the end of on that last lap. I think from the angle we saw at least, it seemed like he kind of squeezed a little bit on the inside there of Bowers, who, yeah, just kept that exact same line all the way through, depending into the inside, into every single corner. But crucially, he didn't make a mistake, did he? He made that one mistake where maybe he opened up the inside into 1 on one of the laps. But that was about it. Apart from that, he was absolutely faultless and really deserves that good place. Unfortunately, for the driver he got involved with, Paul Aaron, of course, he finished in 22nd place, so won't even be within the reverse grid.
So Zach O'Sullivan with a brilliant drive wins heat race 1 from pole. Richard Verschoor stays in second. Victor Martins moves to third. Vesti in fourth. Ugo de Vilde finishes a good fifth. Gus Bowers with the defensive drive of the season finishes sixth, 2/10 of a second ahead of Callum Williams, who tried everything to get past. Sophia Flourish with a great drive to eighth. Dion Gauda, Alex Powell, Conrad Lawson, Billy Munger, and Beitske Visser separated by 200ths of a second across the line. Great drive from Beitske there. James Pohl, Kai Askey, Logan Cusson, Miguel Costa, Frederick Lubin in 18th place. And then further down, we'll have Lawrence Hopen and Maximus Meyer, who will start on the reverse grid pole just outside there. Marius Sugg, Paul Aaron, of course, ended up on the gravel. James Wharton with his penalty in 23rd. Justin Arsenault, Kiffin Simpson, Nicholas Cruton, and we all know Zane Maloney with his penalty 27th in this race after fighting for the lead. And a little unfortunate for him there after contact with Vesti up the hill was on the receiving end of the penalty there. Now we've got the 5-minute warm up, or as myself and Sam like to refer to it, I think it's more like a cool down after that.
Yes. Hopefully the judge will cool down a little bit. It's really important, actually, this little part of the event, I think, for everyone just to calm down a little bit and very much just kind of get a little bit of perspective a little bit, because when you're battling that hard, that intense with other drivers, you can really get frustrated. So now this is the time just to relax a little bit. I mean, I think a lot of the drivers won't even be doing laps at the moment. Maybe just, getting themselves a cup of tea, as we all do, I'm sure, as racing drivers, and preparing for the next race. But that 20 car reverse is going to be really interesting. A couple of the drivers finishing in 21st and 22nd, of course, so quick, but not quite getting within. It didn't seem like there were that many front drivers from race 1 who were going to be starting near the front of race 2. So perhaps an opportunity, dare I say, for the race winner of race 1 to come back and win this one again for O'Sullivan.
Yeah, now it's going to be a test of his real. It is going to be a test of his mettle. See if he can get through this extremely strong field. But for those of you just joining us, you are watching the Kokoro Invitational Series brought to you by FP0 Simulators, and a broadcast, of course, done by Apex Racing TV on Apex Racing TV on the YouTube and iRacing Esports Network. And make sure to subscribe to keep up with all the action from the Kokoro Invitational Series, with 2 rounds left in the championship, 5-round championship, and it's been great so far to see the coverage. And of course, we're live from Interlagos in Brazil. A little bit chilly for Brazil, I'd call it. Actually, 18 degrees Celsius in the air. I would have expected it to be a little bit warmer, but it's still pretty nice as we head towards the end of warm up here, and the driver's now settling down. But O'Sullivan, I had to note something. I wrote it down pretty quickly. But I was really impressed by O'Sullivan's consistency, because I think for about 10 laps in a row, he set a 126.4 within a couple of hundredths of each other. And that's the sort of consistency that you really need to see when you're moving up the levels in motorsport.
Definitely, he was absolutely locked in, wasn't he? And that kind of shows as well that he's getting the most out of that setup. Pretty sure his pole lap, I don't think his pole lap was even any faster than a 26.4. To be honest, that really does show really good signs for how competitive he was. His qualifying lap was a 26.5. Fast lapping practice was a 26.0. So if he was doing 26.4s, then that is literally 90% of his pace. There's nothing on the table, and yet he's not making mistakes. He's being able to bang that in every single time. That's really impressive, and good start for race 2. However, you need different skills for race 2. You need that overtaking skills. You need to be able to avoid instance. You need a good start as well. If you can escalate half the field after lap 1, that makes your job a lot easier. Also, thanks to Jonathan Thomas. He has just subscribed to Apex Racing TV. Jonathan, I'm not sure if you're attention seeking here and subscribe twice so that your notification would come up twice on our screen, so we would shout you out. But if you did, then well done, because it's absolutely worked. So thanks for tuning in, and of course, thanks. Do check out our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff, and also do check out SDK Gaming as well. The link to the live timing that they provide is in the description. It's really useful stuff with the intervals between each of the drivers, their last lap time, their best lap time. So certainly do check that out. That is a link in the description just below.
Yep, I had to double check as well. It is a 4-round championship, not a 5-round championship. This is including this one, it is 2 rounds left. So we head to Silverstone next week as the final round, but we still got the This one to go. Maximus Meyer on pole position for the reverse grid race here. Lawrence Hopin in second place. Frederick Lupin third. Miguel Costa, the hometown hero, in fourth place. Logan Cusson, Kai Askey, James Poole. Watch out for James Poole in seventh place. He's always quick. Beitske Visser in eighth. Billy Monger in ninth. And Conrad Lorson 10th. Then it's Alex Powell in 11th. Dion Gouda in 12th place. And then we'll see a lot of these guys. Sophia Flörsch in 13th. Callum Williams, Gus Bowers, De Vilde, Vesti, Martins, Verschure, and Zach O'Sullivan from 20th on the grid. What can he do from there? A hell of a lot, we would think. Marius Sugg and then Paul Aaron, who was involved in that instant. Then at the back, it's Kiffin Simpson and Zane Maloney from the very, very back of the grid. How about that for this one? Here we go, the feature race about to get underway for round number 3 of the Kokoro Invitational Series. Lights out and away we go. Great start, Meyer, but a good start from Lubin from the second row. Look at that for a start from Frederick Lubin from the second row. Gets up to second place already and trying to now outpace Maximus Meyer to turn number 1. Trying to go around the outside. Miguel Costa up the inside. He'll try and hold on. Goes a little bit wide, does Lubin. So Costa should take that place back around the outside, and he does. So Lubin goes to third, but Cusson, James Poole with a great getaway as well. He's fighting with Logan Cusson there. Beitske Visser to 5th. James Poole. Billy Monger's had a great one up to 6th place as well. And keeping an eye on all the front runners as well. Verschure and O'Sullivan 19th and 18th respectively. So down towards 2 by 2 by 2 they go down as Lubin's up the inside of Cusson trying to come around the outside. Beitske Visser up the field. Spinner. That is Cusson, I think, is around. James Poole's around as well. And he's off in the road. A bit of a pity for him as he was having a great run. They're now going 3. But how about Callan Williams? Where's he come from? Up the inside of all of them. But he goes to 5th place. Kai Askey to 6th. Alex Powell. Gus Bowers trying to come around the outside. It looks like there's been a spinner somewhere there as they try to sort it out. But Alex Powell goes ahead of Gus Bowers. Billy Monger then should come following him through on the inside. Now switches to the outside. Victor Martins is up to 9. They've made it up 10 positions. Have Zach O'Sullivan and Victor Martins, but Victor Martins has got ahead of O'Sullivan. Vesti's trying to follow him now, and now they're fighting with Billy Monger trying to sort themselves out here. But it's Martins, O'Sullivan, and Vesti together. Verschure's at the back of them. These guys have made huge progress in lap number 1, but afterward, Maximus Meyer, after all that fighting, he's still managed to hold on to that lead.
Yeah, there were big crashes at turn 4, turn 5, and then the run down into 6 was absolutely a sight to behold. Vesti, unfortunately, has dropped down, so he made awesome progress to Vesti. However, it hasn't gone well for him at the end of this lap, as we might have side by side for the lead. Costa to the inside. Meyer not defending it too much. How much are these guys willing to fight? And Meyer, I must say, oh no, there's contact. And Costa spins out. That must have been a bit of neck. I swear they weren't too near one another. And Costa hangs to wait for the field to go past. He's going to be very lucky not to be hit by another driver. He was on the edge of the circuit, 3 wide. He was pretty lucky. And then a couple of drivers off as well. That was a Watson and Aaron, I believe, are both losing places, and they're battling down into turn 4. The 80 car diving down the inside. Williams and Bowers are back with one another. Obviously, Bowers gets ahead of Williams, and Williams can pass him for the entirety of race 1. He's going to do well to pass him in race 2 now. Powell and Askey are the top of this string. Good drive from Askey so far, up 3 places. I don't think he's the fastest guy out of these guys, but has done well to pick himself through the traffic.
Martins gets ahead of Callum Williams just about there. They're going side by side. But I just want to point out, how about Zane Maloney from the back of the grid? He's 11th. How about that? From 26th, he's gone to 11th in a single lap. There he is. From the very back of the grid, Zane Maloney with a champion's drive. He's got to 11th. And he's now closed up to the back of the leaders. Richard Verschure, Billy Monger, Zach O'Sullivan, Callum Williams. Now Victor Martins got ahead of Callum Williams at the moment. But what a hell of a start from Zane Maloney. 15 places gained in a single lap. Unbelievable drive. But now Zach O'Sullivan with Callum Williams now up ahead. Gus Bowers trying to get past as well. Victor Martins, that looks like Alex Powell is going to move out of the way for them. He doesn't want to get himself involved in this one. Maximus Meyer still leads. He's got a 1.9 second gap, but now the leaders have already made up huge progress. Victor Martins, he's going to go for a double one. He's going to go for Alex Powell. Zach O'Sullivan trying to come around the outside of Callum Williams. He's got the move on the inside for the next part of the circuit, and he does get it done. So O'Sullivan goes through, but Williams is still there on the inside. Not quite, so O'Sullivan gets ahead. But now Billy Monger, can he get himself involved in this one as well? He's coming down the back of Callum Williams. Now can we switch to the inside with Zach O'Sullivan? He'll get the slipstream on the inside as well. So Billy Monger, can he get up the inside at all? Not quite. Oh, it's contact and Callum Williams goes around. There's contact with Billy Monger, and Callum Williams, after such a great drive, he spun it around and he's into 14th. And unfortunate for him, after having such a great run, he's dropped all the way down to 15th place. They're behind Logan Cusson, but at the moment Victor Martins is the highest place of the leaders at the moment as he goes up the inside of Gus Bowers. He gets stopped. No, but Bowers will have the inside. He gets a little bit of contact, around he goes. Victor Martins spun around with a contact with Gus Bowers. Now he has to wait for the whole field to go through. Gets it started again. Logan Cusson gets past, but there's a disaster, unfortunately. for him as he gets just a little touch with Gus Bowers, and around he goes.
The one before with Munger making contact with Williams, British driver versus Australian driver. Speed of light is pretty quick, but gonna have a bit of ping there. That was I think a bit of netcode, but in that second one, I'm not sure if it was, to be honest. Oh, that's a lot of damage from Munger. That was the contact down at turn 4. The drivers do get a fast repair, so you should be able to fix that. Hopefully you'll see him back out on circuit. Munger, I imagine he would like to keep himself in play for some points. 3 wide, nearly 4 wide. They'll send
Oh, no.
and they all go taking each other out. That was just Florsch, I think. Was Florsch a lap down? Florsch
Yes,
was a
she
lap
was.
down. I think she moved across slightly to the outside, maybe not realizing that there are 2 drivers alongside her. Oh, that's a massive shame on the outskirts of the top 10. And we've got another driver. That's Martins.
Victor Martins.
Is it Martins?
I believe
Without
so.
any
It's Zane
beat.
Maloney. It's Zane Maloney. Sorry, it was Zane Maloney in the wall. So there must have been contact between himself and Victor Martins down the back straight. I just saw Maloney fly into the wall at high speed. So we'll see now what happened here. Now we look at Zane Maloney here. Did he lose it by himself, or was there contact? Not quite sure. There's a car in the background, but
that's hardware failure, I think.
oh, unfortunately, yeah, Maloney just out. So it was another car in the wall, but Maloney, just terrible luck. He had such a fantastic getaway all the way up into the top 10 from the back of the grid, and just looks like a hardware failure straight into the wall. And oh, what a shame. He's having such a great run, and the luck just does not go his way. But Frederick Lubin has dropped 3 seconds off the back of Maximus Meyer. Kai Askey to 3rd. Zach O'Sullivan is up to 4th. How about that from 20th? And now we look at Kai Askey versus, that's James Poole, who's he's a lap down, trying to get himself out of the way, and does do so. But Zach O'Sullivan to 4th, Gus Bowers and Richard Verschoor in 6th now. Alex Powell, then it's Dion Gowda, Vesti, and James Horton up to 10th place. Zach O'Sullivan, fastest lap of the race, but now Gus Bowers is embroiled in a battle. And around goes Alex Powell in the background into the wall. He's lost it on the exit of the Senna S, is in the wall. That's him out of this. And Dion Gowda goes through. But now here comes Verschoor. He's going to have a think of there he is, unfortunately, the stricken car of Alex Powell in the wall. Here comes Richard Verschoor. Zach O'Sullivan's looking on the lap car of pull up ahead. There goes Verschoor up the inside. And can he get it stopped ahead of Bowers? He does indeed. Now he's got an opportunity to chase after Zach O'Sullivan, who's just a little ways up the road. He's got the car of James Poole to get past. But Zach O'Sullivan, we know he was going to try and make his way through. He's up to 4th already with nearly 5 laps gone. He's done fantastic so far.
Yep, he's making some great progress. I mean, Verschoor and Bowers, or certainly Verschoor, still in touch with O'Sullivan, and that's where he wants to be, because O'Sullivan could win this race, could perhaps do the double. He's got Askey ahead of him, then Luban, and then Meyer, who's been able to pull away in recent laps. That was a poor lap last time out for Luban, who lost over 1 second, 1.2 seconds to the race leader. And this lap's been poor as well. He lost 3/10 in the first sector. Remember, there's 5 sectors, so that is probably the Senna S, I imagine, where he's lost the time depth. So not happening right now for the British driver, and he's going to have some very quick drives on his tail very soon. O'Sullivan to the outside then of Askey, to the inside of Askey. This is going to be easy for him. Askey not putting up much of a fight, which is probably the wise thing to do, seeing that that move is going to happen eventually regardless. And now it's 4/10 up to Luban. I don't think O'Sullivan's going to be able to get past down into turn 4, which might mean that he'll have to wait all the way till turn 1 on the following lap to go for a move, and he can't afford to lose that amount of time, because with 7 more laps to go after this one, or 8 more laps to go after this one, he's got to start closing that gap to Meyer. Here comes O'Sullivan then to the outside. It's going to be a long way around. We haven't seen this move work pretty much all day, but if anyone's going to make it work, it's going to be Zach O'Sullivan, who gets the cutback down the inside. He goes almost contact between the two of them, leaving space though. There is Luban, who sticks his car back down the inside. There's going to be contact, and almost going off is O'Sullivan. Is he going to lose the position here to Verschoor, who gets alongside him? Not quite, but that is a massive setback for O'Sullivan. He was well on course for taking the lead within a few laps. However, now he's got to make up that time again.
He was lucky to keep the car in check there, as now Lubin holds on versus Kai Askey. Now Verschoor seizes an opportunity up the inside of the last corner, but O'Sullivan's going to hang around the outside. He should hold on to that one, but in the slipstream. Now Gus Bowers is right in this one too. Here we go. O'Sullivan versus Verschoor. Maximus Meyer is checking out front. He's 4.6 ahead, but now Verschoor senses an opportunity as he comes towards turn 1. Can he go to the outside? He's going to have a go, but Bowers is going to get himself involved too. They're going to make it 3 abreast as Bowers to the outside of both of them down towards turn 1. Verschoor's got to watch out for him on the outside. He's going to have a go on the outside of the Senna S's. Can he get it around the outside? No, he can't. O'Sullivan holds him, and now they'll have the cut-back line as they run through turn number 2, out of the Senna S's, round the long curve. And down the back straight they'll go again as they head towards turn number 4 for sure to the outside. And Bowers is going to have the same thing. He's going to have the slipstream up for sure. And again, Askey's looking as well up ahead for sure. He's got his nose ahead, but O'Sullivan later on the brakes. But all this fighting is not helping him. He runs wide, does O'Sullivan on the exit. And Askey's now trying to get up ahead of Lubin as well. There is Kai Askey. He's already up the inside. He's got that move done and he's through to second place. For sure is still stuck behind O'Sullivan there. But Maximus Meyer is 5.1 seconds clear. These guys need to stop fighting if they want to catch up to Meyer, because at the moment he's doing enough to keep himself ahead.
Yeah, and this has been too aggressive from Verschoor, who I think has been the main culprit of this. Trying to get past O'Sullivan. Just stay behind O'Sullivan. You're going to get past these guys anyway. As there goes O'Sullivan down the inside. That's not going to stick though. And he's going to be left vulnerable, left out of it, and gets back in line. No, well, this wasn't looking good for Meyer. Literally one lap ago. All of a sudden now, he is looking like the massive favourite. 5 seconds, he might start losing half a second a lap to the drivers behind, but that's not going to be enough for him to be caught. There goes O'Sullivan then, down the inside. For sure going to have a slipstream, but he's boxed himself in. He should have gone to the outside, I think, unless there might be room now down the middle. I don't think he feels that confident, as here comes Bowers. Straight round the outside of all of them, almost 4 wide going to turn 1. He backs out a bit wisely, and Verschoor might still not get this move done. He hasn't. He stayed behind Luban, and now we'll go round the outside. But again, he's kind of pulling out of the draft too early. Almost gets shoved off the circuit through turn 3. There's barely any room for him to get back onto circuit, and he is starting to lose a bit of time now to O'Sullivan. Down the inside into turn 4. That was a all or nothing move, and it has turned out to be absolutely everything. And Verschoor moves up into 4th place, but well, had an opportunity at getting past O'Sullivan and took him a little bit too long there to get past Luban. He's lost too much time now to the driver in P3.
Yeah, fighting very, very hard. For sure had to get that move done if he wants to keep himself. But Luban was kind of the cork in the bottle. He's let them all through now. As O'Sullivan's now trying to catch Kai Askey, who's in second place. Maximus Meyer 5.4 ahead. So these guys don't have a lot of time. They need to catch, obviously, about a second a lap to catch up to Meyer. But O'Sullivan over surely. So we'll have just a quick look at the penalties. Oh, we've had a look. Zane Maloney disqualified for multiple contacts. Victor Martins disqualified for racing when he was like 5 or 6 laps down. But here comes Zach O'Sullivan up the inside now. He needs to get this done if he wants to catch Maximus Meyer. And Verschoor's in the slipstream too. He's got to have a think about it. He's in the middle of the both of them here as they head towards turn 1. He's got to get the move done on Askey as well if he wants to follow through. And O'Sullivan gets it done. Does Verschoor get it done? No, he doesn't. So O'Sullivan's got a bit of a gap now. So Verschoor now in the slipstream. He's got to get past Askey right now to try and follow O'Sullivan. He needs to get in that slipstream. So here comes Verschoor. Can he get it done? In the background, they're going 3 abreast in the back as Bowers trying to sort out. Here comes Verschoor. Askey defensive. O'Sullivan's now trying to defend as well. Does Verschoor get it done? He leaves the door open a bit. There's a little bit of... He goes wide for sure. Has he got the cutback? No, he doesn't. He's still stuck behind here as they run up the hill for this 9th time of Askey. He's on the outside again, but Askey's holding on. Bowers up the inside of Luban. He's finally got ahead. Dion Gauda's caught them as well. Dion Gauda's right in there from Singapore. He's in there too. And he's caught all these guys. Frederick Vesti's is a little bit further back as well. But eventually Gus Bowers gets it done. But for sure is still caught behind Kai Askey, and that's so crucial.
Vesti's nearly caught. Also, you know that Vesti's a little bit further back. But, I mean, to fair, Vesti is only 5 seconds back. I can see they had a spin earlier on, which dropped him outside the top 20. He's done pretty well to close that amount of gap. It just shows how much these drivers have been battling. Askey still staying ahead of Verschoor. However, he's lost the... Well, he's got a little bit of a draft from O'Sullivan, but very minimal. You can see that gap actually increasing as we move through turn 13. Askey blocking off the inside. Verschoor with much better speed on the outside. He might get a little bit of a draft as well from O'Sullivan ahead, which might just help him through. And through he does go, being able to cover off that line. So Verschoor moves up into 3rd place. You'd like to beat O'Sullivan, but I don't think there's going to be any beating Meyer. 5 laps to go. Meyer on that last lap did a 27.3. It would have to be some mega lap times from O'Sullivan. He was doing 26.4, wasn't he, in race 1 quite consistently. If he did that lap after that, he might get within a couple of seconds by the end of the race. But I think as long as Meyer keeps it in the low 27s, he should be alright.
Yep, he's just doing enough at the moment. So O'Sullivan, if there's 5 laps to go, he needs to catch a second and a bit per lap to catch Maximus Meyer, who's just been leading every single lap of this race. Untroubled, because all the guys are battling really hard behind him, has allowed him to open the gap. And so O'Sullivan on course for second, unless there is Dion Gauda, who's had a decent run as well. He's trying to get past Luban as well. And let's see if he can do it. Because Luban's been a really kind of... He's been almost in the way of a lot of guys here as he's putting up a sterling defence of Dion Gauda here, and a couple of other drivers up ahead of him as well. Gauda trying his best to get past. Not doing so far. He's come across the line to stop at the start lap 11. O'Sullivan is most certainly not catching enough as he heads on to lap 11. Here comes Dion Gauda. Can he find the space on the inside? He does. Will he get the overspeed on the inside line? Dion Gauda versus Frederick Luban towards they're almost contact there. That was extremely close as they head towards turn number 1. Gauda up the inside. Luban's later on the brakes though. Can he hang around the outside? Yes, he can. Nicely done from Frederick Luban. But now Dion Gauda will have the slipstream down towards turn 4. And can he get up the inside? He's going to have to go up the inside. Luban's going to try and close the door on him, but he doesn't quite have enough. He's squeezing him a little bit, little by little, as they head towards turn 4. Can he get it stopped on the brakes? Can Gauda finally get it done? Yes, he can. Luban put up a hell of a defense there, but eventually Gauda finally gets it done.
Yeah, nice racing. And in terms of the penalties, as coming, there's contact between the two, the massive impact. Oh well, it was such a good battle before that, and then took a load of curb on the inside, and it's really cost them. So by the way, just to clarify, Meyer did not get a penalty for the incident with Costa earlier on. That's the race leader. A couple of questions about that one, but deemed a racing incident. This was how this one happened. So go back down the inside. Yeah, the curb just unsettled him, didn't it? And Gauda left so much space on the inside. He did nothing wrong. And, well, at least they can continue. They're still in the top 10. But it's a shame because that was really sizing up to be a nice battle. Look at the leads.
Hang on a second. 1.1. Myers made a mistake somewhere because Zach O'Sullivan has closed the gap to 1.1 seconds. He must have had a slowdown or something right there. 1:30.4. He made a mistake for sure that time. And now it's just turned the race on its head because O'Sullivan's now within 9/10 of a second, and Meyer may have just thrown away the opportunity to win this race. For sure, he's 2 seconds off the back of him as well. This could get really interesting because O'Sullivan's now almost within that slipstream range, but he's still got to pull that gap down enough to make the move past Meyer, and that's easier said than done.
And he's got to get past O'Sullivan before Vershaw gets on the scene. And this is how it happened. So this was Sector 3, and yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what happened then. Over-rotation there, and then over-rotation again. The rear end all of a sudden stepping out of it. I wonder if he was surprised by that one, or maybe he's had that same kind of wiggle on previous laps, but certainly was a lot more evident right there. Gap down to half a second for sure onto these guys. Bowers 4.5 seconds back, and Asker as well. They could profit if these guys have a collision. We have seen a few 3-car incidents already today. O'Sullivan, a nice distance back. This is a really nice distance back. He should have good momentum and should be able to pull ahead when we head onto the pit straight, as we'll soon move on to the penultimate lap of the race.
So unfortunate for Maximus Meyer. He's led every single lap of the race, but here comes Zach O'Sullivan from 20th on the grid, up the inside. Can he take the lead with 2 laps to go? Up the inside of Maximus Meyer, and he's done it. Zach O'Sullivan takes the lead again, and he's on course for a double race win, a heat race win and the feature race win. But he's still, let's not discount Maximus Meyer. He might come back at him here down the back straight, because if he continues to fight, O'Sullivan's going to defend, and Meyer's going to come back at him with the overspeed. He's got a slight slipstream on the outside, but O'Sullivan covers it off nicely. But O'Sullivan, he's done what he needed to do. He's come from 20th, and Meyer's made the error. He didn't make the error, and he's now up into the lead once again and on course for that double win, which is so hard to do, especially in a field this strong. And he's just got a lap and a half to hold on to secure this win.
Yep, and Meyer already dropping back into the clutches of Vershaw. Vershaw would have been infuriated. What was Meyer doing? Not defending is what Vershaw was thinking, probably. Meyer maybe could have fought a little bit more there, but I think he was going to lose that place anyway, and this is his best bet at finishing in second, especially if he can stay close enough for the slipstream through turn 13. He's about 6.5 tenths of a second back, so you're within about 8 tenths. You are going to get a small slipstream effect, 7 tenths of a second behind, so that will help him slightly and might help him keep Vershaw behind as we move on to the last lap of the race. O'Sullivan is far enough ahead. This should be comfortable for him from here. But what can Vershaw do behind? The gap's down to 0.4 of a second. 1 second splits the top three. And Vershaw might be close enough for a move down into fourth.
Yeah, looks like it. So for sure, can he do it? Can he get back into second place here? But these guys, Zach O'Sullivan and for sure started in 19th and 20th on the grid respectively. So now Meyer goes defensive. He's still got a chance at the podium here. Here comes for sure. He'll have to go to the outside. Will he open the door? He goes to the outside line. Can he outbrake him around the outside? He tries to get the cutback underneath. Meyer defends that well. He gets a little twitch on the exit though. For sure finds the space on the inside for second place in this race. Can he get it done around the outside? Meyer's defending very well. Up the inside he goes. He should hold on to him, but for sure all the way around the outside. Can he make that work? What a move. Richard for sure. He's got it done around the outside. Move of the race. Richard for sure. Take a bow for that one. So brave.
That was absolutely epic. That hasn't worked all day long, has it? That outside move at turn 6 and 7. But Vershaw made it work, and that was absolutely excellent. Isn't going to beat O'Sullivan, but that is a fantastic second place for Vershaw. He really had to work for it, but out in the lead. This man has to work for it, and that is a perfect joke. Apart from the small contest he had, as he drops out, okay, needs to connect before we reach the finish line.
Wow, okay. So Zach O'Sullivan just been disconnected right at the very end. So provisionally, Richard Vershaw has won this race. Maximus Meyer is second, and Gus Bauer is going to get third right at the death. So Zach O'Sullivan, what's happened to him? We don't know what's happened to him, but Paul, that's so unfortunate. Richard Vershaw provisionally has won this race.
That's absolutely remarkable. And the run to line did everything right, like I said. O'Sullivan still isn't connected. I mean, I'll keep an eye out if we get a received blue pet fail to an unacceptable level, which I fear is going to come up quite soon. That is heartbreaking for O'Sullivan. Big for the championship. Dearie me, he's not going to finish on the lead lap.
Oh, that is just on the final straight. Zach O'Sullivan, after just that is heartbreaking. That is possibly the worst thing that could possibly happen to Zach O'Sullivan, and unfortunately, it had to happen right on the final straight.
Received to an unacceptable level. So that is where a driver loses connection, not deliberately. That's a power cut or internet loss. Probably not something on iRacing's end, or almost certainly it's almost certainly something to do with Zach O'Sullivan. That is absolutely shocking. I've seen stuff similar to that in the past. I've never seen it that close to the finish line.
Oh, that is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. But you still got to finish. Richard for sure has won this race. Maximus Meyer has settled second, and Gus Bowers, I think, a very deserving podium finisher there in third place. Here's the results, unbelievably. Richard for sure wins. Maximus Meyer is second. Gus Bowers third. Kai Askey, Frederick Vesti, Dion Gouda in sixth. Paul Aaron, Marius Zug, Callum Williams recovers tonight, and James Wharton in 10th. Beitske Visser, Zach O'Sullivan is classified as 12th, but he is a disconnect. Frederick Luban, James Paul, Alex Powell, Conrad Lawson, Logan Cusson, and Victor Martins, of course, with the disqualification as well. Zane Maloney with a disqualification as well. Ugo de Vilda, Billy Monger, Justin Arsenault, Sophia Flourish, Miguel Costa, Kevin Williams, Lawrence Van Hoppen, of course, all caught up in their own incidents. That is possibly that is just the most unbelievable thing. On the final corner, and the final, so he had about 100 meters left to go, and O'Sullivan disconnects right at the death. Wow, unbelievable. Richard for sure, he holds on for the win, and again from 19th on the grid, he did a great job. But that is possibly one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen.
Probably not the most heartbreaking thing we've even seen at this circuit, is it? It's notorious for good finishes. That was one of them. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And it's strange because his connection was fine before that. Didn't see him drop out whatsoever, and yet we see a couple of others drop out momentarily. I think second place man, I think Maximus Meyer was dropping out a little bit, but Sullivan was fine. So this is O'Sullivan's last lap, by the way, and you'll see, I mean, he doesn't dip in and out whatsoever. And then when we approach turn 12, or when we come out of turn 12, he will just disappear into thin air. Absolutely remarkable. However, we might have time for some interviews with some of the drivers who we've seen today.
Yep, let's first grab our race winner. I think an unexpected race winner, even in his own mind, Richard Versure. Let's grab him. So, drag him in. Richard, welcome to the commentary box. I think even you must know that that was a really unexpected win with Zach's issue, but you still drove from 19th on the grid, so you must still be happy.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing both. We were doing really well. I mean, as soon as he moved up a place, I did. So I feel really sorry for him. Yeah, I just feel sorry for him.
Yeah, see, obviously, we mentioned he came from 19th on the grid. How tricky was it trying to make it through the traffic? Because there was obviously plenty of incidents happening behind, so it must have been tricky to find space and make your way through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the previous races, I think sometimes I took it a bit too easy, so I braked a bit too early, and then people like crashed into me. So now I had to find like a compromise to not brake too early, but also keep an eye out on the guys in front. But yeah, for this race, it worked out.
And of course, Zach did a brilliant job in the Heat Race 1 and he did everything right in Race 2. Were you particularly impressed with Zach's driving overall? Because he really put on a great show today.
Oh, definitely. Well done to him. I think his strongest point is the consistency he can drive, like when he does laps alone. I'm not sure if that's hours of practice or just, I mean, maybe he likes to track a lot, but I could do the same lap times, but not every lap like he.
Yeah, of course, we were pretty really impressed with his consistency as well. With his laps were within a couple of hundreds of each other, lap after lap after lap. I'll pass you on to Sam now, see if he's got a question for you, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, moving through that order, it looked ever so close out there, Richard. Were you trying to just follow through Zach at all times? Because you got close to Zach a couple of times. You nearly got past, but his defense seemed pretty good.
No, I definitely didn't try to stay behind. I wanted to overtake him, but yeah, as I said, we moved up together, which was nice. Yeah, he did some nice moves. When I was trying to overtake him, he did good defending. So yeah.
And next up, I think we are heading to Silverstone. Have you got any real life experience of that circuit? How do you like it?
Yeah, I drove there a few times in real life, and I really like the circuit. Last race I did on iRacing before a few races before I did this one, I was really quick on Silverstone, so I cannot wait to go.
Awesome. Well, congratulations there, Richard. It was very much a win in exceptional circumstances, but you certainly did deserve that top stop on the podium. Before I let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, obviously my sponsors that are also my car, Profield, Mats, and VMT. So thanks to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Richard, and we'll see you next week.
Of course, thank you.
So Richard, for sure, I think even admitting that it was a really unexpected victory, but still a great drive from him. I think we've also got Maximus Meyer. I think in the interview waiting for us here. Max, welcome to the commentary box. You led most of the race. So obviously, a little bit of a mistake from you later on, but you still must be really happy with second place.
Yeah, really happy with my first time in the Kokoro Invitational Series. I want to say thank you for them for inviting me. And yeah, the race was really good up to that point. Stayed really calm and messed up and spun.
Yeah, so obviously, how was it? Obviously, seeing how was it leading? Obviously, for so long, and then just dropping it. Was it? Did the car just get out from underneath you, or was there a hardware issue, or was it just your own mistake?
It was too much. Started to get a little bit under pressure by Zach O'Sullivan catching me up really fast, and yeah, after that, just struggled to keep it together.
And overall, how have you been enjoying this series driving the F3 cars?
I mean, being my first round here, I feel really happy with the result. Really fun, good racing, and really, really clean.
Good stuff. I'll pass you on to Sam see if he's got something for you.
Yeah, how is it, Max? Kind of as a kartser yourself. I mean, you're battling against these kind of very established Formula Three drivers, even higher than that, guys who are probably significantly older than you. So how is it kind of battling those guys? Must feel pretty good to beat them occasionally.
Yeah, it's really good and exciting to race with guys from F2, and when I get into a fight with them, it's like really nice and clean racing.
Definitely. And then next up, we go to Silverstone. I imagine you haven't got any real world experience of that place, but kind of do you like the way that that circuit plays?
Yeah, it's a nice, fast flowing track. Um, that's what I really like about it. Is that it's nice and fast flowing, really smooth. Maybe a few bumps in the chicane, and yeah,
Awesome. Well, really well done out there, Max. You did a superb job. Would you like to give a shout out to anyone before we say goodbye?
I'd just like to thank my mum and dad and Kokoro for giving me this opportunity to take part in this race.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Max. Well done. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
So Max Meyer there, and I think finally, I think we're going to have a chat with Gus Bowers, who I imagine is really happy with his performance. Gus, welcome to the commentary box. Two fantastic drives from you there. The defensive masterclass in race one, and I think an unexpected podium in the feature race. You must be really happy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to be honest. Defended the whole race run, so I had a bit of more of a break in race two, but I'm really happy, especially after a string of bad results, to be honest.
So obviously, Heat One, you had an immense battle with Callan. How was that? How tricky was he to keep behind you?
He's a brilliant driver. You know, I had to give him absolutely everything. He doesn't leave an inch for you, so really had to work hard for it. But I'm really happy. I'm really relieved almost that I was able to hold the.
And the feature race as well, you were starting further down the grid. How tricky was it trying to make your way through the field? And did you actually expect to get on the podium by the end? Obviously, Zach had his problems, but did you even expect to get on the podium in the feature?
Yeah, feature race was absolutely crazy. I mean, obviously starting that far back, I just thought I'm gonna try and stay out of trouble and just sort of see where I end up. And I sort of ended up getting further and further up. I had a few nudges here and there, which are in these cars very scary, but I really wasn't expecting the podium whatsoever. So I'm really happy with that, and I think it puts me in a much better position in the championship to where I was before.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll pass you on to Sam now.
Yeah, Gus, I mean, you had some pretty vocal support in the YouTube chat. I mean, have you done much promotion for the series kind of on your social media because you have quite a fan following, it seems.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to see everyone's supporting me. Especially in a series like this. I've been promoting it quite a lot, but I really didn't expect the sort of reception it's received. So it's really lovely to see everyone getting behind me and supporting me.
Absolutely. And how have you found iRacing? I mean, how have you found kind of the realism of these cars? Would you say it's kind of particularly realistic from what you've found? And what would your feelings about the racing be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really new to this, so I got my sim about a week before this whole sort of competition began. In terms of realism, well, I drive GTs, so I haven't actually driven a Formula 3 car before, so it's actually been quite difficult to try and sort of get my head around the way this car drives. In terms of realism, the GTs are very realistic. Um, but yeah, like I said, I haven't driven the F3 before, so it'd be interested to see how it compares to the real life car.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Gus. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we say goodbye?
I'd just like to thank Ben Tuck for giving me a lot and all my family and friends for supporting. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Gus, and best of luck for Silverstone next week.
it. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
So that was Gus Bowers with an extremely ecstatic sounding Gus Bowers, I must say, with two fantastic drives there. But yeah, a roller coaster of emotions right there with poor Zach O'Sullivan losing out at the very end, getting disconnecting throughput fell to an unacceptable level. But yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible race, and we of course, unfortunately, are heading to the last round next week at Silverstone, which is going to be an even more interesting one. But yeah, we are. I don't know who to give driver of the day to, Sam. Who would you give it to?
Oh dear. Okie doke. Looking through the order. So I mean, Verschort did awesome. Max Meyer, I thought he did great as well. Bowers, I think I might give it to Bowers. Bowers finished ahead of Williams, didn't he, in race one with that defensive drive?
Mhm.
That was pretty great. So my drive of the day would be Bowers because he probably got. Despite the fact we didn't see too much of him in race two. Race one, he certainly got the most airtime, and he did a very good race two as well. So hey, congrats to Gus Bowers. He was very good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Gus had a fourth and a third with even the most exceptional circumstances that he managed to grab third. Zach O'Sullivan, of course, we're not forgetting about him. He drove fantastically in race two, but just didn't happen for him. But I think, unfortunately, that's going to be it from us for today. You have been watching the Kokoro Invitational Series brought to you by FP0 Simulators and, of course, by Apex Racing TV, bringing you the broadcast live. Make sure to subscribe to the Apex Racing TV channel and to the iRacing Esports Network to keep up to date with the Kokoro Invitational Series, with the final round coming to you next week at the same time. Of course, once again, my name has been Jack Canan, Sam Fitzpatrick joining me in the commentary box, and Alex Simpson working hard on the cameras as always. We hope that you'll join us next week for the final round of the Kokoro Invitational Series live from Silverstone. That's all from us, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, and good night.